Hello, welcome to Midweek Mindfulness. I'm Betty Cook. I will be your presenter. I'd like to join you. I'd like to thank you for joining us on Facebook. And every week and every time you join us on Facebook, we thank you for that too. So tonight we're going to be discussing a little bit about the beginning of this very sacred time for Christians and a few other folks. So as we begin to share in our time together, I'm going to start with a prayer if you'd like to join me. I know there is one creative and unending source of all creation, and I feel the power and the deep connection to that source in this place right now. I know the wisdom of time in the incarnation of the Word made flesh. I feel spirit in all the connections that form each time I recreate my commitment to my spiritual journey. I honor all that is possible when I am reformed in my relationship with others through spirit. I bring that possibility forth as we spend our time together, and I know the wisdom of all that is created as I say, and so it is. I was raised as a Methodist, and so a Christian in my family of origin. Excuse me. Christmas is such a big time for Christians, and the time of Advent is often marked in those communities, much as in ours, by the Advent wreath and with the symbolism of each candle representing the universal values of hope, faith, joy, and peace. This symbol is a wonderful tradition. Another symbol we see, particularly around churches, are nativity scenes. Some of you know that I am a student of birth and have studied midwives and their history for some years. I have attended many births. I am enthralled by the symbolism, but also the power of what I feel in the aftermath of a birth. The metaphor and the reality of this most sacred act is the subject and the theme of my time with you. Excuse me. I love the power and the energy of birth. Perhaps some of you have had the experience of acting out the birth of Jesus Christ. This is usually done in traditional churches as part of their yearly celebrations. And the story of Jesus of Nazareth's birth was told in 2 books, now included in the official Bible, Matthew and Luke. We usually know these stories pretty well, from the Annunciation by the angel Gabriel telling Mary she was already pregnant, which for a young girl was probably terrifying news, to the most spiritually transformative of human acts, to that of the birth of a child. The Nativity is often recreated in these churches, and the story of the travel from Nazareth to Bethlehem, the inability to find housing, the hasty birth location, and finally the birth of Jesus, and the importance of that birth because of what his life was to become for so many people. I don't know if Mary had a virgin birth, and it was never important to me that Jesus was supernatural. I tend to think mostly of a teen mother, which Mary was, and her role in bringing forth someone that everyone felt was so important. What I find more important and compelling is that every mother is potentially bringing forth someone very important. At the very least, what is overlooked in that narrative was how important this first birth would have felt for a young woman, supernatural or not. Jesus was Mary's baby, and he would have been her King of Kings whether he ever did anything more important than just build things successfully as a carpenter. I invite you to enter that place of wonder. The wonder of the amazing miracle that every birth represents as we spend our time together. So in the telling of this true story that was written by Matthew and Luke, it sounds as if it's someone that really wasn't there. And the narrative bothered me for a very long time, simply because I am a long student of women in birth, especially historically. Something very important is missing. And that important aspect that is a glaring omission is a midwife. In my preparation for our time here, I thought about that omission, and I found more than one reference to a book that was considered legitimate but was not included in our official Bible. And this was the narrative of James. And in his narrative, there is the inclusion of Mary's midwife, and her name was Salome. Salome was said to have witnessed the birth and to have participated in it. And this is the story that he wrote. And the midwife went away with him, and they stood in the place of the cave, and behold, a luminous cloud overshadowed the cave. And the midwife said, "My soul has been magnified this day, because my eyes have seen strange things, because salvation has been brought forth to Israel." And immediately the cloud disappeared out of the cave, and a great light shone in the cave, so that the eyes could not bear it. And in a little that light gradually decreased, until the infant appeared, and went and took the breast from his mother Mary. And the midwife cried out and said, "This is a great day to me, because I have seen this strange sight." And the midwife went forth out of the cave, and Salome met her and said to her, "Salome, Salome, I have a strange sight to relate to you. A virgin has brought forth a thing which her nature admits not of." And what she was speaking about was that she felt that Mary had given birth though she had been a virgin. So clearly in these narratives, as well as some of the depictions in Eastern Orthodox countries, there is a midwife in the Nativity. So for my talk tonight, I wanted to put the midwife back in, because women didn't usually have their husbands present for that event. Joseph was likely near, perhaps outside, talking with the guys about camel races and having a draw off the hookah. But that doesn't make for a sacred text. Birth was then, just as it usually is now, a woman-centered, woman-attended event. What's important to me is that Mary was not with Joseph only at her birth. She was with women. She would have had a midwife. What is sacred about the Jesus story is what it signifies at its simplest. Something was made. Jesus was made. The Christ child and the Christ soul was embodied through Mary. For some, the Jesus birth was an Emmanuel event. The meaning of Emmanuel is that God joining us, God as with us, particularly that of Jesus the Messiah. For Matthew and Luke and other books included and chosen to be included in the New Testament of the Bible, that is the power of the Christ birth. It was also attributed to be a prophecy of Isaiah. But if we look at the Aramaic interpretation of Isaiah's words, he said that one would be born with the qualities of a Messiah. So perhaps Jesus was the great teacher that was foretold, and his importance to everyone was an important part of his starting again. This starting again of a soul, that very act that birth represents, the re-entry of a soul that is the Christmas story, represents to me the incarnation. The meaning of the Christ birth is the connection that Jesus represents, the incarnation, the beginning of things, of everything. Because supernatural or not, babies, and particularly first birth, changes every single thing about the people that are born, and the soul that comes into the world and the people they come to be with. They change their mothers and fathers completely. They are never the same again. And Jesus certainly changed profoundly many people around him. The pure and undeniable love that is the bond between mother and child is to me spirit made flesh. The power of that connection, one that is never broken except through death, is the love of spirit that we seek to know through all other relationships in our lives. It is also the love that makes all other relationships possible. Remember, if you can, of a birth, any birth, that filled you with the wonder of what new life can represent for us as we enter our meditation time. So I invite you to relax in your chair and ready for our meditation. Take a deep breath in, count to 3, and then relax and breathe out. You'd like to get comfortable in your chair or wherever you are. Find a good place that feels comfortable. And ready ourselves to kind of go inside and reflect on this. I would invite you to reflect on the experience of becoming in this world, the power of our first awareness, of the wonder of the newborn, and the newborn as the Christ consciousness in us and as us. We are the world made new each time we take into our hearts the love of our family, the love of our friends, and how we live as that love in our world, right now, every day. So as we begin our meditation, I'll have 10 minutes with music, and then I will have 10 minutes or about 10 minutes of silent meditation. I invite you to come back. I thank you for joining me this evening and for joining me at any time that you come on to Facebook and find our meditation. I'd like to invite you, if you enjoy our meditations and you would like to give, to go to the Center for Spiritual Living Kansas City website. There is a way to give through our website. Anything and everything that you give to us, whether it's your time, your treasure, your talent, any of the comments and time you give us online is all appreciated. It's all part of being a community, offering our services to you, and part of the great law of circulation, of course, but also just part of being with you and here and available for you. Also, invite you to send us any prayer requests through our website as well, and our practitioners will get back to you and will hold you in prayer. So I will close my time with you with this prayer if you'd like to join me. As I go forward in my life this week, I know that there is wonder in each beginning. A new year, a new intention, and a new thought. They are all the birth of something Spirit-inspired. May you go into the week and the new year Spirit-led, knowing the divine inspiration that became you, and feeling the power and wonder of the Word made flesh as you, and everyone, each soul you encounter, as we approach the adventure of 2023. We go with gratitude for our time together. We hold in our hearts the wonder and the joy that is this time of giving and receiving. And we know only Spirit as us and between us, as we say, and so it is. Have a great week.